Friends, we're going to start this one a bit different today. If you saw our tech review with this old Mini here, let's just say our luck ran out here in the Pacific Northwest. Now I'd love to show you Mt. Hood, but even I can't see it. So let's look at something a bit different. You know how when you get fancy cars like this, you get something that opens up the door and starts the engine? Well, here there's another one, but this one doesn't start the car, doesn't even open up the door. This has everything to do with you being old and forgetful. Let's say for the sake of discussion, you run into your car and you forget, oh my God, where's my computer? Well, there's two of these things, and you could put one of these things in your bag and it's Bluetooth to the car. So when you drive off, the car says, you're old and you forgot something important. So get off your ass, go back home and get it. When you and I talk pulling power, we're normally on a dry road, but we have a turbocharger, we got all-wheel drive, and the snow is starting to get somewhat deep. So I say we try pulling power a completely different way. With that, vaya con Dios, baby. Oh. Okay, it works. It works. People weren't in Mini, we're in deep snow. Okay, as we get through the worst part of it, perhaps I should tell you there's a sport, a mid, and a green mode, but I don't think we need to play with either one of those. We just went through a foot of snow in a Mini. Okay, so it's high time you and I geek out over some BMW and Mini speak. Now in the tech review, I told you this is based on a BMW platform. That will be called the UKL, sometimes referred to as the Unterklasse, the underclass, the smaller vehicles. On the BMW side, that underpins the 1 Series, the GT versions of the 2 Series and the X1, which is also referred to as the F48. Now on the Mini side, it underpins the Clubmand and now this. Now a couple of things have changed in the move from the old, which was the R60, to now the F60, and that's mainly the size. This, people, is a big car. It is 8 inches, or really 8.1 inches longer than the car it replaces, and 1.3 inches wider. Now, I gotta be honest, when I came to drive this thing, I'm thinking to myself, why would I want this over, say, a Clubmand? Because I think the Clubmand's pretty cool and I love the barn doors. Well, it turns out this one is 1.5 inches longer than the Clubmand. Okay, I think that's all my nerding on BMW and Mini speak. And welcome to the Mt Hood Scenic Byway. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm somewhat partial to this part of the world because I have friends and family up here and do spend some holidays up here. You can absolutely see why. Well, this presents an unusual opportunity when we're talking driving dynamics because we can actually really use it. First, let's just get out of the way. How does it drive? It drives like a Mini. The reason why it drives like a Mini is because of the multi-link rear suspension. The only thing it adds is there's more space back there because of the way it's packaged. Now let's put that aside. So this one we're in is an all-4. It's all-wheel drive, and that's what we need to focus on here. So this is a system like the Mazda that we drove, what is it, God, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Where it's a predictive system, not a reactive system. Like, for example, we've got a great opportunity up here. Somewhat of an elevation change, little turn to the right, and then a sweeper to the left. So let's put our foot into it. Please don't try this at home. And what's happening is the car is taking in, oh boy, this is kind of fun. The car is taking in the loss of traction over there, but it's also taking into account the fact that I've got the wipers on, the outside temperature, as well as what's previously happened in like the past, God knows how many milliseconds, and the system is sending power to different places. Okay, as the conditions really begin to suck, the clouds get ominous, and the snowbanks grow above the height of this vehicle, please don't try this at home. Let's put our foot into it. And you can tell the car is definitely stable. There's no doubt about it. The system works. It just doesn't have like those lightning quick billy goat reactions of like a super uber expensive system like a Mercedes format. Okay, so we already unpacked the architecture differences and how it translates to 8 extra inches in length, but what does that translate to for the kind of people that would buy this thing? Well, this is for science. I actually kind of can get myself in this thing, but really it's 3 extra inches here, which translates to a trick. Watch this. I can move the back seat in a small baby buggy from England. And then if that were not cool enough, let's say you got the music bumping, you can recline the back seats. Okay, so let's back off a bit, take in the stunning local scenery, talk transmissions. So this 8-speed automatic, it weighs 42 pounds. Put another way, over 1% of the total weight of the vehicle in just one component, which opens up the discussion of the different engine and transmission combinations that are on offer. Like, for example, you and I have driven a ton of crossovers over the past just 6 months, and most of those have like a 6-speed or an 8-speed automatic, or God help us, a CVT. But here's one instance where one in the US could buy a small crossover with a 3-cylinder turbo engine, all-wheel drive, in a manual transmission. And here's a fun fact for you. The manual is also available in this, the Cooper S with the all-wheel drive. The people in the state of Vermont, the take rate of the manual with the all-wheel drive is something like 90%. Major respect for the residents of Vermont. But there's a little bit of a nuance there. There is a Cooper S front-wheel drive on offer, but that can only be had with the automatic. Very odd. Before you and I wrap up for the day, a couple of notes. First and foremost, you will notice that this is a bigger screen if you are a Mini fanboy or fangirl. It used to be primarily controlled through this like sort of BMW iDrive system here. Now the screen is bigger because it's touch sensitive. It's not exactly totally intuitive because some of the icons are small, but the main menu you can see, it looks like someone in Palo Alto has copied the icons from either Android or iOS. And you can go into this mini connected system here. You can go into settings of the car. You can go into the navigation here, go to the map here, but you can also do everything down here. I will say from a UX design standpoint, in a 3,629-pound moving vehicle, this, not ideal. I like the hard button controllers down here. BMW and Mini really need to take the wonderful Apple CarPlay integration from the 5 Series and bring it over here, especially considering the kind of people that buy these cars, probably Android Auto. And last but not least, my favorite topic, the sunroof, specifically a panoramic roof here, which we've seen in Minis, since 2005. This is fitted as standard, believe it or not. However, what is optional, you can delete the sunroof. I have no idea why you would, but you can delete it. You and I have been driving a lot of crossovers as of late. And let's just say in my book, they are like the automotive equivalent to celery. Now I knew coming to this, there would be some personality because of the badge here. But the combination of some of the bits that came from the BMW underpinnings that we've talked about, and then frankly, the mininess to it, and then wrapped in a package that is screwed together and smells like a BMW, the whole thing kind of works. So I hate to admit this, but I kind of like this crossover. Now, let's put that aside. This, the most basic model, 3-cylinder with a manual transmission, is $26,100. The most fancy version of this, $43,000, so a huge swing there. So I want to turn this around to you guys and leave you with a question, and the question is this: what do you think this competes with? Because there's nothing really this size. All of them are kind of bigger. Even an Audi Q3 is bigger, but they're all different and they're all kind of more boring than this. So what does it compete with? And just don't tell me what you think it competes with. tell me why. And you know what, for good measure, let me know what region of the world you hail from. Let me know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV, all one word, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I want to leave you with two things. Number one, make sure you subscribe and click on notifications, and make sure you also download our app. And number two, a fun fact. So you and I are going to drive another version of this probably in June, hopefully where it's not raining and super cold right now because I can't feel my hands. But believe it or not, that is going to be the first rear-wheel drive Mini you and I will drive. Until I see you next time, bis später.